I'm supposed to adjust the frequency bands until my voice sounds normal. I think I'm in trouble. We could be here all afternoon. I introduced myself many times already in just the space of a couple of hours, but I'm Marc Kruman, Director of the Center for the Study of Citizenship, and I am delighted to have all of the participants in the conference here, as well as many of my highly valued friends and colleagues at Wayne State University. To begin with, I would like to introduce the Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, who has joined the university just this fall and has made a huge positive impact on the campus and on colleagues and students in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Wayne Raskin.
Okay, thank you, Mark. It's great to be here, and I would like to welcome you here to Wayne State University, to the beautiful spring in Detroit, and hope you're enjoying the beautiful weather, which will get better. And for those of you from warm climates, please come back during the summer when it really is nice. So as Mark has probably said, this is the 10th. This is in some sense, this is the 10th birthday of the center. So I would like you to wish it happy birthday, everybody. And there's also the 10th annual conference in this series. And it's great to be here for that conference. I regret that I'm going to miss some of the keynote events. Because we are actually moving homes. We were renting when we first got here, and we have now purchased a home, and we're going to move into it tomorrow. And as you know, moving is a full-time job there. Yeah. So I regret that I will not be at the talks and in particular the keynote talks, but I would like to welcome the speakers, even though I believe none of them are actually here today at lunch. But yeah, so and we would like to thank the sponsors of the center, who are actually many, including the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, right, Mark? Yeah, and to just remind you that this will be that the conference will be awarding the first I guess biennial book award, right? That'll be tomorrow, Mark. Yeah, that's great. And I think maybe Mark will say more about that. So I will not go on here for too long, but I would just like to welcome you here again. Hope you enjoy your lunch, and I think Mark has more to say about the conference and the center. Mark, thank you.
Thank you, Dean Raskin. I want to note that many of the conference participants are writing directly about moving, issues of migration and integration into new communities. So it's a great opportunity to welcome you into this community of citizenship scholars. I want to, first of all, urge you to eat, and second, I want to take advantage of the 10th anniversary of the conference to talk with you a little bit about the center. I decided on the title of my talk after we went to print, but I decided to call it the Center and the Study of Citizenship. Okay. This is, those of you who have not yet dealt with my sense of humor, I'm sorry, but welcome. The Center for the Study of Citizenship grew out of conversations that I had back in the 1990s with colleagues in history and political science. I myself regarded myself as a historian of American politics. Conversations with my colleague in history, Sandra Van Berkelio, political science, Philip Abbott, led us to one of those pie-in-the-sky conversations. Oh, we should do something someday about American democracy, some sort of center or institute or something that got us to think across disciplinary lines, maybe even including a few people from the law school. But that was about the diversity, intellectual diversity that we reached in the mid-1990s. But as my own scholarship about the American Revolution proceeded, I began to think of myself more as a historian of citizenship and began to think about citizenship as lying at the crux of my work. And therefore, it would be at the center of any institute that I might eventually seek to establish. Then everything was blown apart in a very positive way when I had a senior lectureship sponsored by the Fulbright at the University of Rome, Università di Roma III, and spent half a year teaching American history in Rome, but having an opportunity to lecture in Italy and in Germany about my work, voting rights in revolutionary America. Who could think of a topic more relevant? Well, when I spoke at the Universität Kassel, University of Kassel, the students at the conclusion of my talk very generously started rapping loudly on the table in applause. But what was most striking was how they drew immediate connections between what I was talking about involving the American Revolution and what the German parliament was discussing at that very moment involving citizenship for Germans of Turkish origin. After that evening in 1999, I would always see citizenship globally. I returned from Rome with the general idea that when I retired as chair of the history department, that I might one day try to create this center about citizenship. I didn't know what I was going to call it, but it continued to exist only in my mind's eye. Then, fortuitously, in October 2001, the date is important here, I was having a conversation with then Dean of the Graduate School and now our Vice President for Research, Hilary Ratner, about interdisciplinary projects in the humanities and social sciences. I mentioned a couple that I knew of, and then very tentatively told her that I had sometime in my future, after I was done being chair, would maybe found this Center for the Study of Citizenship, which I thought was a pretty cool idea, but was going to be something that would require my full attention. Dean Ratner could have treated what I said like most exciting academic conversations. I don't mean about our scholarship, but when we're creating things, we create lots of things in conversation, and it all disappears into the ether. Wow, wasn't that a great conversation? And it was fantastic. But in the month after 9/11, Citizenship drew an instant connection to people. And she brought it to the president, to the provost, to the vice president for research, and wouldn't let me let it disappear into the ether. Oh, but the vice president for research was a medical guy. How would he possibly see the value in this? Sat down with him in December 2001, and he said to me, this is a medical researcher who just established a medical school at Florida International University, George Dombach, and he said to me, I've been reading Locke lately. And I think that your center could, and this is before there was a Department of Homeland Security, could have more value in American society and globally than a Department of Homeland Security. He exaggerates greatly, but at that point, the game was over for me, and the game had just begun because I had resources that I didn't know what I should do with them. Now I could use the 3 GTAs that they gave me. And in the end, despite my protests and despite the fact that I still serve as chair of the history department at Wayne State, the center was off and running. The Academy is very good, as we all know, at generating brilliant ideas, amazingly creative and important research, brilliant innovative teaching, but universities are also very, very slow to make institutional changes. I'm reminded of the age-old question that academics are faced with: how many professors does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is change? Nevertheless, I did in fact receive instant support from President Irvin D. Reed, then Provost Charles Bance, who is the chancellor at Indiana University, Purdue University in Indianapolis. Those of us who like the institution call it ooey pooey. They don't much care for that reference. Since the center's launch a year and a half later, actually on 9/11/2003, its work has been built upon the idea that vital communities, social, political, economic, cultural, all require informed, active citizens. And over the past decade, I'm really proud to say that the center has established itself as the preeminent global institute for the study and promotion of citizenship. Today, the center sponsors a discussion network of more than 1,300 scholars from over 30 countries. What began as a conference for a handful of junior scholars, is Liette Gidlow here? In my department, Liette was one of the participants in the first conference with 9 junior scholars. And today we have the largest conference that we've ever held, and the most significant conference, the only conference globally dedicated annually to the discussion of citizenship across disciplinary lines. We have 70 presenters and more than 100 participants in this year's conference. The exciting interdisciplinary conferences led to the establishment of a new book series that I edit with the Wayne State Press, Citizenship Studies, and Roger's brilliant keynote address will be shaping the next volume on the meaning of citizenship, and I hope that you will continue to reflect on his discussion today, because it will be it will provide us with the themes for discussion at our luncheon on Saturday afternoon, our closing part of the conference. The conference and the center's role in the development of the interdisciplinary field of citizenship studies spurred the center to establish its first biennial book prize for the best book about citizenship. We had great submissions, and Rogers violated the embargo until tomorrow, but I think you'll be looking forward to hearing Jonas Steinberg talk about his book, Ismaili Modern. He's a cultural anthropologist at the University of Vermont. We also expect to introduce a prize for outstanding book manuscript, which will then be considered for publication in the Citizenship Studies series. In addition to its role in the promotion of research about citizenship, the center also assumed an educational mission. In 2009, it became a partner institution of the American Democracy Project, a collaborative initiative of the American Association of State Colleges and Universities, and the New York Times. The center has a leadership role in the Democracy Project's e-citizenship initiative, which gets back to the last question at the keynote about the role of the digital world in shaping citizenship. The initiative includes some 52 colleges and universities around the country, and my goal is that this should not be limited to the United States, but should be global in its reach. We're focusing on both the development of digital tools to enhance student civic engagement and to understand the ways in which citizenship is experienced in the digital world. One of the early accomplishments of it was the establishment of the e-Citizenship Journal of Public Affairs, which is published by Missouri State University, and effectively, we have, in fact, one of the co-chairs of the e-Citizenship Initiative with us today, Renee Bricker of the University of North Georgia. And her colleague, Michael Stout, is a professor of political science at Missouri State. The center's work is, educationally, the e-Citizenship Project is global. But in another way, the center has begun a discussion at Wayne State that I hope will spread much more broadly. And that is the development of what some scholars call a citizenship across the curriculum, a way of exploring how universities, especially public universities, have a public responsibility, and to connect people and their disciplines to the larger public purpose of their work. This is not citizenship the way I had imagined it in the 1990s. Citizenship is not just taught by historians and political scientists. It's not only about the legal structures discussed in our law schools, but in fact, it resonates throughout all of our disciplines. And if you look at the mission statements of virtually every major national and international academic organization, whether it's the American Chemical Society or I don't know what the accrediting body in the engineering school is called. I lost my acronym translator. But they in fact have been reviewed recently and asked how they were going to talk about the public mission of engineers. And I think it's there and it's everywhere. And just like when I founded the center and thought there might be a dozen people on campus interested in citizenship, and then discovered that nursing scholars were interested in immigrant access to health care, that issues of health care as a right were infused in our medical school and in our social work school. All of a sudden, disciplines came across my vision in a way that I had never imagined before. And I think that the success of the conference is that conversation across disciplinary lines that binds us together intellectually, but I hope also will speak in a broader way to the importance of studying citizenship for the public, to be committed to our public purpose. The civic education movement, and I know a number of you here are involved in it, has been emblematic of it is our own Irvin D. Reed Honors College and our Dean Jerry Herron, who brought a public mission to the Honors College. Jerry was one of a small number of founding board members who helped me to create the center. And I think that what he's doing in our Honors College is something that we can be doing throughout our university, but where all of you can be doing it at your universities as well. I don't think that somehow or another what we're doing here at Wayne is isolated, but hopefully will spark a broader conversation nationally and globally. Citizenship has seemed to be almost everywhere. People think that I see it everywhere, and that they suggest perhaps I should get a change in prescription. But I think that what I responded was, I don't know how the pieces fit together. I don't really quite get it. But when I had a dinner, I was introduced to the then General Counsel of General Motors, Thomas Gottschalk, back in 2003. And I started describing the center, and I wish I had a recorder, he then ticked off all the ways in which what I was talking about were urgently and immediately relevant to General Motors. Of course, having done that, they then went bankrupt. And the center launched a corporate citizenship program. Many academics think of corporate citizenship as an oxymoron. But in fact, what I've been wrestling with in recent years is trying to fit the pieces together. And I'm just going to make a little tentative start here because Helen will be pulling out the cane to yank me away. I think that I would begin with the center's mission and the importance of educating people for informed, active citizenship. And that universities have a special responsibility in that regard. If you've not read it, I strongly urge you to read the Department of Education's A Crucible Moment, which explores, it's available online in PDF, and it is a stunning analysis, I don't agree with all of it, but a stunning analysis of higher education's public responsibilities. So universities have a public responsibility. But I would also add that it is in the institutional self-interest of universities and their students that they play a role in civic education. Research demonstrates that students who are both informed and active citizens as students stay in school and graduate. In the rush to view universities across this country, and I dare say elsewhere, as engaged solely in workforce development, I can point out that research conclusively shows that the skills developed in civic engagement, ability to conduct research, analytical reasoning, problem-solving, teamwork, that all of these speak to the skills that employers say are needed among college graduates and which they don't yet always see in those college graduates. In addition, we know that our students are likely to hold a multitude of different jobs over the course of their careers. And the skills established through civic engagement will stand them in good stead as economies are buffeted by changes in technology, communication, and transportation. Although scholars could very nicely appeal to Governor Rick Scott in Florida and point out that, in fact, civic skills are job skills, I'd like to take this analysis a step further to connect civic skills to the strengthening of corporate citizenship. The field of corporate citizenship, sometimes referred to as corporate social responsibility, is about businesses building strong relations with the community, building strong organizational citizenship. Yes, the people in human resources and organizational studies and organizational psychology do indeed call it organizational citizenship among employees, building environmentally sustainable businesses, ethical marketing, and the like. Why have corporations embraced good corporate citizenship? Every major large corporation has a corporate citizenship report, often has a corporate citizenship office. Many dismiss this as something like greenwashing, all sitting on the surface. But I would suggest that good corporate citizenship is profitable. It makes money. It enhances reputation. It improves relations with customers. It strengthens employees' commitment to the success of the business. It enhances the community in which the business functions and succeeds or fails, and helps businesses to recruit outstanding employees who want their work life to have public meaning. And so the center has become involved with the Detroit Welcome Mat, which is designed to attract immigrant entrepreneurs to Detroit. If you've driven around, you know that we have a lot of empty space. But the Welcome Mat, which was part of a broader effort to attract entrepreneurs and immigrants to Detroit, the center is now participating in the training of startup immigrant entrepreneurs by contributing discussions of corporate citizenship into their training program. And the Detroit Welcome Mat is, in fact, one of the sponsors of our conference. But this kind of opportunity demonstrates the way in which citizenship indeed is everywhere. That in public businesses, publicly held businesses, it's obvious. They know they have to be good corporate citizens, regulations and other things like that. Small businesses, it's, oh, I'll get to it once I've survived. But in fact, the research, I think, is overwhelming that this is not just the course one can take towards survival, but to thriving and success. The students who graduate as informed, active citizens are going to be the best employees and the best future leaders of the private sector. What the center hopes to create is a virtuous circle, not a vicious circle. One that educates for citizenship based upon not as a matter of political socialization, but as a way of thinking about membership in community and communities. And that the research conducted by all of you and the teaching that you do will shape the citizens of the next generation here and across the globe. By developing a citizenship across the curriculum that explores the public implications of work done within the disciplines, we will fulfill our mission as scholars, researchers, and teachers. Thank you very much. In 10 minutes, we're going to be going back to the undergraduate library, and then your travels are over for